we're recording now, so I don't know if you've seen these, but I don't really start any specific way, and I don't really end any specific way. It's just always, yeah, it's just always kind of like a trombone player. We always have that rep of being, well, we don't always have the rep of being the oddballs in the band, but I know I think that's just me.
Maybe it's just not. No, I think trombone players in general always get the rep of being the most chill. I like that rep. Like just you know.
That's true. That is true. We do.
Although odd may be thrown in there too.
Sometimes I think we know about it, and like I just think we all at a certain point kind of realize like, yeah, I just shouldn't, just don't bring that up. No, no, no.
Exactly. Exactly.
They won't get it. No, they won't get it.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
like I said before, I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful
Yeah.
you said you
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to talk to you, dude. Yeah, thanks for thinking of me. Yeah, for sure.
dude, it would be hard. I think it would be hard not to.
Man, appreciate that.
But that being said, I want to just jump in and ask you, man. How are things going? Isolation, quarantine, and everything with that. How's life?
Man, it's going well, honestly. Like, I can't say it was going well this whole time. Like it's funny. I actually, so I did this meditation retreat at the end of February, beginning of March. It was this. It's called Vipassana. It's like a 10-day silent meditation retreat,
Sure.
which is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And it was dope. It was like incredibly challenging, but like I learned a lot, and it was a great experience. But like the second I came back from that, like literally the day we turned our phones on and stuff, it was like coronavirus, like what's going on? Like, we had heard about it before that, but that's when stuff started. That was like when Italy was like really, stuff was really going down there and stuff. And so I came back to LA, and I had like a recording session that I had scheduled before, uh, and I did that. But then like 2 days after that, basically all the gigs I had and all the tour, I had 2 tours coming up,
Hmm.
and just everything just within a couple of days canceled. And then about a week after that, it was like quarantine. And so it was, I feel like mentally and spiritually, I was kind of prepared to handle that, having come from this like really intense, like meditation thing.
Hmm.
Uh, so considering that, I think I handled it pretty well. But then there definitely was a point where I remember I was at the grocery store at like 7 a.m. and like that was when it kind of hit me, just like the chaotic energy, that like the fear that everyone was feeling, just being in that environment, like really, um, it kind of brought me down, honestly, because just the way people were acting, and I could tell it was like very fear based. And um, I'm very like, I mean, we're all, energy is a real thing, and like when you're around that, it's like it can be difficult to not succumb to that.
Hmm.
So I've had some ups and downs, but lately I've kind of fallen into a rhythm. Like I've been figuring out how to use my time, productively, and but also just like how to like maintain peace and like joy, within myself. So it's been going better now lately.
Totally.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I think I mean, the way you described that, wow, that is crazy. You were on a Vipassana and you come back. But
Wow.
days
Super
of,
wild.
10 days of silence and, then that, wow. But I think, yeah, I it sounds like, you have a good footing on it. And from what I can tell too, like you said, like you said as well, and like I've seen also from what you've been posting on social media, and that's actually what caught my eye. Just that's been catching my eye because that's usually the way we keep in contact nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
Specifically, but also just the world. It's I don't I made I can think in the last, yeah, I've probably only seen you in person. I can't say more than 20 times, 20,
No,
but
like ever.
and but the the just being able to keep in contact and see what you're up to, but also and just also being able to kind of just I kind of get a sense from you that there's a spiritual element to what you do.
Oh
And
man, yeah.
that's what really drew me to want to ask you actually to be on this specific, and as well as you're just a dope player. But
Thanks. Yeah, I feel the same.
that being said, I
Yeah,
guess jump into my second question.
cool. Yeah,
The I guess yeah, projects and musical projects you had going on. You mentioned a few tours. You mentioned some other stuff you had that was planned prior.
yeah.
Wondering if maybe if you have any projects you were doing or anything like that. Plug them. Plug them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I had, like I said, I had, I think, 2 tours coming up, and they were with like some of my best friends.
Hmm.
Uh, my friend Aditya Prakash,
Okay.
who I went to UCLA with, he's a trained Indian Carnatic, Indian classical music singer. But he has his own projects. And he's like, his music is all about combining, what he learned in Carnatic music with like jazz and hip hop and more, American. He grew up, in LA, so he's like more American than I am. Like, but he has that Indian, cultural background as well. So his music is all about combining those elements, and I'm a big part of that. Like we've written stuff together, and been playing together for years. So he actually just dropped an album under that name, Aditya Prakash Ensemble, called Diaspora Kid. And basically we had a tour. I think it was like an East Coast and then West Coast thing, kind of like separated, to promote the record that came out. And that was, yeah, we were all looking forward to that. That would kind of slowly, one by one, gigs fell off until the whole thing got canceled. And then I was also supposed to do like one of my best friends, Kiefer, who I also went to school with, had a tour that was, I think we were hitting Chicago, and then we had a couple dates in Europe as well, and maybe some East Coast. I can't even remember, but sure enough, like within the same time frame, it was like, yeah, this is not gonna happen. And then I had a couple other, I was supposed to do a recording session with Nowhere out here, which I was really looking forward to because I've never done a video with them, and I love Louis and Genevieve, and like they're like, I'm not like close to them, but like I've always like really admired them. Like I really love hanging with them, and that was gonna be fun, and that didn't happen. So, yeah, it was a bummer to like have all these really cool things like I was doing, but again, like it's out of our control. Like
Totally.
the other thing I have going on is like I'm still working on my next album, which I've been working on for like off and on, obviously, but for a couple of years now. So now that all the tours and stuff are canceled, it's actually a good time to get back into that and like focus on that, because I do want to get the music out eventually.
Sure.
But yeah, that's basically what I was doing in the past couple months. So
Yeah, I mean that's some good. I mean, yeah, it's quite a lot of stuff.
yeah, fun.
Yeah, yeah. I should. I mean, not even just the stuff you're doing on the side, but I should mention, I bought your album when it first came out on Bandcamp. I remember, yeah, just listening to everything in there, and attention deficit. And
Thanks, dude.
but yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, I should. Yeah, I tend to shower the people I interview with compliments.
That's what Phil was telling me.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I interviewed. Yeah, man, it was just like a nice. I mean, yeah, there was a nice continuity to it, I should say, even though the title kind of does describe like kind of goes between a lot of stuff. But I mean,
Right.
but yeah, there was just a nice continuity, I guess. The thing I noticed within all of it is that you were doing this with friends and people you really admire, and
Yeah.
that, if nothing else, kind of like gave it that real body of just I felt some love from it. I was like, oh yeah, this is.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah, that's always been like my favorite thing about music is playing with like my friends, man. Like, like just having fun. Because at the end of the day, like that's what drew me in. That's why I do it, So I definitely try to maintain that spirit in everything I do as much as I can, I mean, sometimes you have to do stuff just to make a living, obviously, like this is the way we survive. But, as we progress, it's like, ideally you're growing, and you kind of at a certain point have to be more selective with, how you dedicate your time, what you're spending your time doing. And that's always something that tends to be at the top of my list. Like, this has to be like rewarding, or like the people I'm working with have to really be like I have to really enjoy working with them. Like, it's like, if I really don't enjoy being there, like if I don't get along with the people I'm playing with, like it's very hard for me to continue doing it, even if it pays very well or something, or even if the music is really dope, but like I just don't like, it's so rare to like have an incredible music experience where I don't like the people I'm playing with. Like, that's, it's like weird, right? I mean, I don't I really experienced that. So.
Rarely happens.
Yeah, it's rare,
But yeah, I hear you. I find, it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But
the music we play, it's like it's very collaborative. I mean, we're basically, expressing ourselves, and it's like, if you can't get along with someone, or you don't like someone's like, the way they interact with you, why would it be different musically? Why,
always,
I mean, it could be.
always. But yeah, I guess I'm curious. During this quarantine time,
Yeah,
this is off the sheet. I always go off the sheet at some point. I come back on it.
do it, man. This
But
is jazz.
yeah, but I guess yeah. So like during this quarantine time, what projects and or maybe not what projects, but what kind of things have you started to kind of work on? Like I saw you actually, I thought this was one of the dopest things you did. You laid out, you got back into teaching, it seems like, and you really
Yeah.
how, you're going through this whole curriculum, and you laid it out in a very, from what I could just see from the few like things you posted, I was like, yeah, dude knows what's up. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, man, that's been the main like new focus for me. And I'm like really like excited to be back teaching, because teaching has always been like super important to me, as has composing and playing, of course, like, and performing. Um, but for me, it's like all three of those things need to be like kind of balanced. I mean, if I'm doing too much of any one thing, I start to feel like just it doesn't feel right. And teaching has been on the back burner for a while, because basically, I mean, I've been teaching since high school, not consistently, but that was when I had my first student. And at the end of college, I started working at this high school. And then when I graduated college, I actually got a job as a teacher, a music teacher at a private high school, where you teach one-on-one classes. It's the one that Chase actually started working at. And then he got us all in, like Chase and Ryan and Kiefer. All of us were teaching at different campuses of the same school. It's like this private music school. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Chase for making us all, finding us jobs. But it was great. Like, it was a great experience, because I had one-on-one work with all kinds of students that had all kinds of different interests, and I kind of just I was just kind of thrown in. I just had to like be able to teach these kids, like, no matter what their skill level was, no matter what they wanted to learn, what instrument, whatever. You just kind of had to be ready for that. And I also had a lot of what I was doing was teaching production. And when I got that job, I had never done any production. Like, I had never used Ableton once. So that job was an opportunity to totally learn how to do that. So I was like learning as I was going. I would stay after school for hours and just like shed Ableton, make beats and stuff, and try to figure stuff out. And it was great. But at the end of 2 years, I had basically gotten so busy with stuff outside of teaching that it was like I could only do 2 days a week at the school. And even that, I was like having to sub out a lot, because, I'd be asked to go somewhere for a week or something, or, I'd have a recording session. Me and Owen would like take turns like subbing for each other. And the school kind of got like tired of that. They were like, yo, like, we kind of just need you to like commit. And I had been feeling like, honestly, I'm only going to get more busy. So I kind of stopped that, and that was in like 2016. So it's been like 3-4 years since I had a job teaching, and since then I have thrown out like on Instagram a couple times, like, I teach private lessons, and 2 or 3 people will hit me up, and I'll teach them a couple of lessons, and then it'll kind of wear off. So that's the thing, is like I've been wanting to go back into it for a while, but just like with anything, you really have to dedicate a lot of time to like actually do it properly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like anything. And again, it's difficult when you have some weeks you're busy every day, or like you're going out of town for like 3 weekends in a row, and then some weeks the inconsistency in your schedule kind of makes it difficult to like have something like teaching be a regular focus. But the fact that now I have all this time that I can dedicate to whatever projects I want to work on means I can finally spend time into it. So yeah, I started throwing out that like, I'm teaching private lessons, and what I've been doing is like I've been like writing almost like a book or something. Like, I mean, it's not gonna be like a book, but like just like writing just like, whatever you want to call it, about kind of like how I understand theory, like the way, combining what I've learned, but not only what I've learned, but what I've from other people, but also what I've learned just through my own like experience, and going back like almost to the beginning, like talking about what's an interval, what is a scale, and just explaining it from my perspective, kind of the way I wish like I had learned it, like the way that makes the most sense to me, and just like going step by step through that, like going from the beginning and then eventually just going to like as far as I understand stuff now, you know what I mean, like the way I think about stuff and writing. And it's been really cool because I'm in the lessons I'm teaching, like every time I teach a new student, like I take something from that experience, and I'm like, oh man, this is like, I come up with like a cool idea, like for how I can explain something to them, or like a cool exercise that like if they work on this, like this will take their intellectual understanding of this thing, and then it'll help them learn it at the fingertips, or whatever it is. And I'm writing it down, and it's been really cool, man. Like I just I've been really loving it, and especially the variety, because like every student is like super different, like and I have ideas for like YouTube videos and stuff, like ways I can actually expand upon this. And I have a whole vision that like I'm really excited to pursue, but it's going to take a lot of time. So right now I'm just continuing to like teach and in my spare time just write stuff. But eventually I'm going to start recording some things, and it's been fun, man. Yeah, I'm super into that.
Yeah, totally. No, I love the energy you're putting into it. And I think you make a good point of it. I find like oftentimes, it's always great to study with a dope musician, and it's always great when they can impart knowledge, but it just makes such a difference when they like have thought about it and it's something practical in their mind, and they've really taken the time to kind of isolate each idea and realize it in their mind, so then they can just explain what's going on to you. It sounds like you're putting in the work for that, and it inspired me actually to do the same. After I saw that, I was like, yeah, I could. I mean, I've been doing this, but like, this is, it's, nothing like what you're talking about, putting out YouTube videos. I don't like, I hear this, but I guess this kind of thing of just really creating your own curriculum. But
yeah, man, it's
sorry, yeah.
No, it's cool. Like, I mean, part of the reason I get so excited about it is because like, I'm sure you've had this experience so many times, but like when you learn something, like someone shows you something, like even if it's just a friend or something, like a chord or something, or like a progression. And then like, dude, I remember this is so funny. Like I haven't thought about this memory in a long time, but like, I remember being at a party with Chase Jackson in high school, where he was explaining to me like, like I think we were drunk too. Like he was explaining to me like,
don't throw him under the bus.
No. I was like nerding out. We're such nerds, man. Like I was like, he was explaining to me that you can take a 3-5-7-9 shape like in a 2-5-1, and then if you lower the, 7
Mm-hmm.
to an A natural, that becomes an F7 chord, because you have the E flat, the G, right? This is like basic stuff that, jazz musicians like us know. But like when he said it to me, like it just like clicked, and that feeling of like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like that's so, and so that feeling, like whenever you learn something cool or something just clicks, in music, like I love that feeling, man. Like that, that's something I just love. And when you're teaching, if you like are able to explain something to someone in a way that makes sense and helps them understand it,
Mm-hmm.
then they will have that experience. Like it will click with them, and you'll see their face light up, and like I like thrive off that, because like I remember that feeling, and it like it brings me joy. So like I love being able to like share that experience with other people, and that's another reason why I really enjoy teaching. It's like
Totally.
inspiring.
I want to also speak on something else. Yeah, you bring up, yeah, that's a great point. And Chase, yeah, I love that
Yeah,
dude.
I do too. That's my guy, man.
Love that dude. I feel like he's always on. Like,
Always.
just like he just wakes up. He's like, after breakfast, it's just like, yo, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's play every instrument. Let's write. Like, yeah, like he does everything, bro. Like he's amazing. Dude.
But I want to speak too to this idea. Has nothing to do with isolation, but I guess we can talk. I mean, yeah, we're talking music, so I'm gonna just keep talking music with you
Yeah, yeah,
and just philosophy around music. But I think too, with regard to like creating that kind of a curriculum for yourself too, what ends up happening is I feel like so much of the time I don't really think about why I do certain things.
right,
And as a trombonist too, sometimes it's so much of it is just yeah, I mean, so much of it is just like playing with half steps, just like
right.
I'll just play a half step down or a half step up. I mean, that's kind of how I did it in high school. And then I had to figure out later, yeah, there's some rules with that you might want to apply.
Sure.
Not technical, but I guess with regard to like figuring out just kind of writing everything down, and just kind of crystallizing these ideas too. It's all
Yeah,
like you're kind of you're kind of getting clear with yourself. It's like
dude. Absolutely,
moment of
absolutely.
self, like self clarification. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you explain something to someone like some new concept, and then you want to show them like, hey, I don't want you to just understand this. Like that's the first thing. Like I want you to understand this. But then like, well, okay, what can you do with this knowledge? Like how can you apply it? And how can you practice? Like what can you practice so that it will become understood, right? Like not understood intellectually, but understood like physically and emotionally, and like at the physical level, like so that it comes out in your playing or your composing or whatever the thing is. And I'll come up with like, because I'll have to think about it, because like it may not be something I've ever thought about. But as a teacher, your job is to like like guide someone. So in constructing like a plan for that person, you're coming up with like, oh, you're like thinking about like, oh, how should I be learning? How should I be practicing? And
Mm-hmm.
then you realize it, like this happens to me a lot, where I'm like, bro, like I should apply this to, like I should work on this, like maybe in my own way, like like I don't know, like that happened to me this week actually, where I was just like, I've been shedding like some piano stuff, like where I was like explaining to someone about the half whole scale,
Uh-huh.
and I was explaining like this scale is really interesting because it's like very symmetrical. It's half step, whole step, it repeats, And I was explaining how like yeah, because of that, like anything you can play in any one place on the scale, you can also play a minor third above that, or a minor third above that, or a minor third above that. And I was thinking like, damn, like I should like. So then I started like, lately I've been working on this one shape, that like sounds really interesting in that scale. But then I'm just like walking up the scale, stepwise with that, and I'm just like, yo, I should like, I don't know, just stuff like that. Like, dude, like that's such a great way to like shed this. Like I could just pick one shape and then walk through it. But then it's like I should be doing that with all my shapes and all scales and all, it's just like it's endless. But stuff like that, you get those ideas when you're teaching, because someone comes to you with like some question and you have to find an answer for them. But in doing that, you find ways to apply it to your own, things that interest you and stuff to work on.
Sure.
So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, man. I also want to touch on one thing too while we're on the topic of it. But you talk about just kind of working it out on piano. one of
Yeah.
my one of the things I always notice comes up is like, once I'll get an idea or I'll hear a shape and I can transcribe it, I can write it down on manuscript paper, and I'm not going to even pretend to be good at piano. It's just like I'm like one step
Sure.
like four finger piano. So I'm
Got you.
but I mean, I can at this point hear more or less what I want to do, but it's, you know, but then it's a matter of like taking that and then a lot of it is putting it on this freaking thing.
Right.
I'm wondering how that process is with you, with regard to like, or your relationship. Maybe you can talk a bit about your relationship with trombone and how, you take a lot of the knowledge you're using and apply it to this hunk of metal.
Yeah. This whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. I honestly like. I wish I was better at trombone. Like, like to me, trombone is like the hardest thing I do in life. Honestly, it's the hardest instrument I've ever played. Even though it's my main instrument, I feel like I'm still trying to figure out how to like literally just play it,
Right.
and maintain it. So a lot of the way I view trombone, which maybe I need to adjust that at some point, because maybe it's causing me more problems than it's helping. But the way I view it is kind of like I have to maintain like I have to work this every day. Like I have to, work on the fundamentals so that I can play this thing well. So that whatever, occurs here can come out, with as little trouble as possible. So a lot of what I work on the horn is very much at this point is just technical stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
things like long tones and like I'm really trying to work on tonguing because I've been struggling with just like basic tonguing stuff. But and flexibilities, all the kind of that stuff. But at the same time, this is my voice. My voice comes through on the horn more than it does anything else. So that's actually maybe been one of the difficult things about quarantine is like I'm not having fun on the horn. Like it's all practice because performing is where I got to have fun. That was where I got to like not worry about playing, and I just close my eyes and I'm just singing out of my horn. And that's something I haven't been doing. That's been one of the hardest things about not playing, not performing during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
But the piano is like where I have more of my fun when it comes to practice, because the piano is where I'm getting to explore harmony, and I do more like I obviously when I'm composing I do all my composing on the piano, and I explore ideas and stuff because you can hear colors, and you're not like physically like there's not like a barrier with like what you can do on the piano physically, whereas trombone it's like I have a limit, like there's only so much I can play like a day, and it's really it's not even that big, my stamina is not that crazy or anything. So piano is where I explore most of my ideas and stuff and work on things. But at the end of the day, like anything I'm learning on any of these instruments, from like an improvisational standpoint or like just an understanding, um, I absorb it, here, like here and here. So it like even if I'm working on like let's say like a shape or like a lick on the piano that I've learned from some solo or something, like I can translate that to the trombone. Like it will come out naturally, and then there are ways I can shed it too. Like maybe if it's like the little idea, obviously I can try to work it out and stuff.
Yeah.
So but then again, but even there, that becomes more of a technical practice, right? If I'm working on one shape on the trombone and taking it through the keys, that in essence is like I'm actually working on technique at the same time, you know?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I find too, for me as well, like one of the things that shifts are my ideas on the trombone. For instance, if there's like yeah, like if I'm playing a whole tone, I know there are some, I would say licks, but there are some kind of shapes that just feel better, like
Yeah.
playing like mid to high register and thirds, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and not overdoing it. And really also, yeah, just also, I think not feeling like I have to be like I just have to get it, I just have to convey the message of the spirituality of the spiritual content with which I want to put out, not so much
Yeah.
I don't have to, you know, dazzle. I guess it's like the old, I think when we knew each other better, like in high school, I was more on the, let me razzle dazzle you with my amazing,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
you know,
That's high school, you know. Like
yeah.
that's
And then it's, but once you grow up, you realize, yeah, it's cool when you do that, but like, we really love that, like, nice big tone you got. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's like,
I, that's why like I love dudes like Andre Hayward is probably my favorite, you know, because he'll play one note and it's like you want to cry. Like it's so beautiful, you know.
yeah,
That's how I want to play. I want to just like sing through my horn. That's why the trombone will always be my voice, is because I can sing on that thing. I think trombone is so beautiful as like as a as a voice, you know, because there's so much you can do like that has nothing to do with theory on the trombone,
right.
you know, like so many details, just like tone and just like inflection, and like we have a slide which, you know, creates all sorts of like soulful like possibilities, you know, stuff that like piano players can't do because they're confined to the notes that are already tuned, you know what I mean.
Definitely.
um,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, I mean, trombone is like, that's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the trombone players know, and it's our job to kind of show, you know, our other musical colleagues that that's also what it is. But I think, yeah, man, I'll be honest, you know, I think you're as good of an ambassador of that as anybody. Um,
Oh,
so,
thanks.
it, but moving on, I want to move back to kind of more within the frame of, I guess, the isolation we're dealing with now and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Topic I bring up with everybody is, you know, it's kind of a funny time because I feel like as a musician too, like a lot of the self-worth one has, or like the self-worth I, you know, I can kind of, where I associate my self-worth sometimes can kind of be caught up in my busyness and how much work I'm doing and
Oh yeah.
how many gigs I'm playing, you know, who I'm playing with, and how much money is hitting my bank account at any given time,
Yeah,
as well as, you know, if even if I'm having, and I'm usually having fun when I do all those things too. So it's kind of
exactly.
it's kind of, you know, not even realize I'm doing it. And I'm not even saying this from like the ego in terms of just being, you know, the like an asshole or something, but I'm saying like the ego in terms of just associating myself with what's actually going on like that.
Yeah,
Like I think it's easy to go there rather than to but now it's like every musician around the world, I should say, is kind of live gigs, kind of a no bueno zone.
right.
So
Absolutely.
this is, you know, we're in a place now where we're all kind of asking on some level, you know, who am I? What is my identity like when I'm not, you know, associating it with those things?
Right. Right.
Wondering if you could speak to that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something like all of us probably go through. Like, you know, just like yeah, equating our self-worth to like how busy we are, how much we're gigging, and like
Mhm.
yeah, I had an interesting like trajectory, I guess, because I don't know, like I always like I actually had like low self worth as far as like trombone, like especially trombone. I've always kind of had low self worth like on the trombone itself, but like even just like in jazz, like I felt like I was always like kind of like had a lot of work to do like in high school and stuff. But high school is where I came from, being like I can't even play trombone, like I sound like shit, to like really like finding my thing and like finding the love for it. So when I got to UCLA, like the second I moved to LA, my whole like um like like the way I went to LA, the intention I had was like, for the next 4 years I'm going to be in school, but I'm studying music. So my goal was like, obviously school like is the priority. That was how I was raised, but you know,
Mhm.
really my main focus was like, I want to use this time, these 4 years, to get involved in the music scene in LA and to like become a professional musician in LA. Because if I graduate and I want to pursue music, like I need to be working, you know, like I was very realistic about the fact that like, you can't just graduate and then be like, all right, now I'm working. Like now I'm making enough money to pay rent and groceries and bills. I, you know, I was smart enough to know that like, yeah, this shit takes time. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like you need to like meet people and like get into the scene. So the second I got there, I was just like hanging with all the people that like, I mean, I was hanging with people I got along with, but like, it was people that, you know, that were also had the same focus as me, with like guys that were like gigging and like doing that. So like the first week I met Julian Lay, who like was 2 years above me, but like he's amazing piano player, and like he was gigging all the time, and he was so cool. Like so I just instantly like we got along so well because like we had the same kind of drive, and same with Owen Clapp, you know, like you know, so like these are the guys I hung out with, like mostly older dudes. And basically any gig that came my way I would take. Like I didn't care at all about money or even like what kind of music. Like I was just like, if it's a gig, I'm taking it. Like, you know, so like I had good intentions there. Like I was trying to like, you know, get in the scene, like I said, and like be prepared. But like at a certain point, I think I did start to equate like how busy I am, like how much I'm gigging with like how well I'm doing, like how cool I am, or like how good I am, you know, like, oh, if I'm working a lot, that means I'm, you know, and obviously like, you know, that's not the way, you know, that's not the way. Like you have to have self-worth, like regardless of like, you need to like find a way to, you need to find a practice that will keep your self-worth completely disconnected from anything outside of yourself. Because at the end of the day, like you are, like you're not defined by like anything outside, like, you know what I mean, like, because what happens if you know we lose our arms, you know, then we can't ever play music, like, you know, we can't ever play trombone again or like piano, so then what, we're nothing, you know what I mean, like like we're greater than like what, you know, what we do. So but you know, so I had to learn some tough lessons along the way, you know, like I had to learn to like have self-worth and like be able to say no to certain things, and like you know, and I had to learn that like being like having tons of gigs doesn't actually make me happy. Like my happiness isn't equated to how many gigs I have, you know, there's much more. And you know, it's a lot of reassessing. Like you have to reassess yourself like all the time, because you're always growing, or you always should be growing, you know, that should be your goal. And and in as you grow, things change, and like some things you were doing aren't going to continue to work for you. But yeah, so recently, the past few years, I've like really thought about it, and like I've like read books and stuff, and like I talk to friends a lot, and I've kind of found some spiritual practices that like really work for me, you know, to like maintain like peace and like self-worth and stuff. Like I've been trying to, you know, like meditation has been a big one, you know, just like trying to meditate every morning if I can. Like I did it before the podcast. I tried to meditate, and I also been like journaling, like writing. There's this book called The Artist's Way. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
Tell me about it. I gotta get it.
yeah, it's dope. It's dope. It's like a whole book about kind of about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like how to. It's for artists of all kind. You know, how to like have self-worth as an artist, and like how to. But her whole thing, her like main thing, is like write your morning pages. Like first thing you do when you wake up, just sit down and write 3 pages, just like a journal, you know, just like, and there's no rules really. It's just like, just write, free flow, just write until you've reached 3 pages, and then you're done. You can write about whatever you want. And so I've been doing that almost every day. I definitely don't do it every day. Like you know, I'm not gonna pretend I'm perfect. Like I definitely, but I do notice that the days I do it, like, are much better than the days that I don't do it. Like, there's something special about just like waking up and like releasing whatever's in here just on paper. And I've actually even carried that over to like when I'm having like a conflict with a person or something, like that's like really like kind of heavy with me or something. Like I'll write it. I'll write about how I'm feeling, because it's like it's such a great way to like because, you know, when you have like thoughts and feelings all cluttered together in your mind, it just becomes like this heavy thing. And like if you don't like sit and analyze it, like it doesn't go away. It just manifests in like physical ways and stuff, and it interferes with like your relationships with people, or like even just like whatever you're trying to do, or your emotions, you know. But writing is like has been super helpful. So that's something I've definitely been like trying to maintain consistency with, you know, and that's been helping. And I notice when I do those things, like I'm at peace and I'm good. And then I have, because I'm happy and I'm like feeling good, I can then use that energy to like actually work on stuff that I want to work on. Not because I think I need to in order to have self-worth, but because I actually want to, you know, like now I'm excited to work on music, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. So that's been big for me, because that's something I've struggled with a lot, you know, and like, I think a lot of us do, you know, no one has it figured out really, you know, we're all trying to learn, like, you know,
Yeah.
Instagram is a front, you know, Instagram and all the social media, it can be, you know, I mean, it really is like, you know, it, you know, it's kind of the flex, you know, I mean,
It is.
obviously that's not all what it's about. Like, you know, you want to share what you're doing with people, but it's really easy to go on Instagram and see someone has hella followers, or like someone's doing all this dope shit. And then you're like, what am I doing? I'm like sitting in bed. Like I woke up at 12 today. You know what I mean? Like I'm a piece of shit. Like, but it's not real. Like, because you're only seeing what that dude posted. Like you're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not,
Definitely.
that dude has the same thoughts. Like, you know, like we're all trying to figure it out. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I think too, you know, you touch on a yeah, man. You touch on so many good things. But yeah, I hear you. This is all really important stuff, and yeah, I agree. I think yeah, I mean, we could do probably a whole other podcast on meditation. But
Yeah.
I I noticed, yeah, I'll speak to my own experience with that too. You know, I think
Please.
yeah, no, I've been doing it pretty much every morning. Nothing like Vipassana where I've
Mm.
gone for 10 days like that. But I do
Yeah.
it a few minutes every morning, nothing
Right.
else. And like you, I'm not going to pretend I do it every morning, but
Yeah.
it's like 9 out of 10 mornings I'm sitting down first thing in
Yeah.
the morning and meditating, trying to,
Yeah.
and I think it and writing as well, a few things. And I feel like that's just, you know, doing that practice really makes a huge difference. And it's the kind of thing, you know, it has nothing to do with the bank account. It has nothing to do with anything. Wouldn't matter like how many gigs I have, what else is going on. It just you know, what matters is it's like if you're not enough with yourself, you know, what is a gig going to really give you, you know, or what is a big opportunity, whatever, you know, in business or whatever in life, what is it going
Yeah.
to if you're not like cool with yourself?
Yeah. This is the center, you know? It's like,
Yeah. And yeah, you touch, yeah, I just had to speak to my own thoughts on it. Cause yeah, I find, yeah, I'm not a real interviewer. I should throw that out there for anybody
I
far.
think
Um,
you're doing a great job.
thank you, bro. But yeah, but yeah, I guess, man, I feel like you covered everything and more that, you know, um, want to talk about. I just want to ask you real quick, because I ask everybody this, you know,
Yeah, please.
with regard to the quarantine and everything else going on.
Yeah.
Um, what have you done so far to prepare? I know you talked about, you know, just coming straight out of a retreat back into civilization and being like kind of, you know, seeing your phone blow up. But you know,
Wow.
I, I'm wondering, you know, like with regard to this, and I know some people are kind of they're choosing to, you know, hoard is a good word for it.
Mhm.
Buy unnecessarily high amounts of things that they might or might not need.
Yeah.
Um, Probably won't need, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious. What step? I mean, this is like one way I guess people prepare, but like maybe even spiritually, it sounds like you're doing a lot of that already. But just kind of getting centered. But maybe you could
Yeah.
speak on that, just this idea of being prepared and what you're doing, you know, now or what you did before. I mean, what you're doing now and what you think, you
Sure.
know, going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah, we talked about the spiritual stuff and like mentally getting that together. As far as like, you know, because you know, with the quarantine and the scare of this stuff, you know, the fears are simple to like look at. It's like, you know, there's a fear about finances, right? Like having money to pay rent, to buy groceries, food. There's a fear of food, right? Like food shortages and like having like the craziness at the grocery stores. That's less of a fear now, I feel like. But at the beginning of it, I think people were like really, you know, everyone's buying fucking toilet paper and like all that stuff. And, you know, yeah. But I mean, and then I guess health is the other, you know, like people are scared, you know, like I don't want to get sick. So, you know, with the health, like I'm just trying to like, you know, I bought this mask, you know, like
Oh, man.
I'm trying not to go outside, you know, like as much as, you know, I was before, you know, in public spaces. And stuff. I actually try to go outside on my porch every day. It's beautiful out there. I need sunlight, but yeah, as far as that, you know, just preparing, like, you know, trying to not, you know, socialize with too many people, especially people that are seeing other people. And as far as the food and stuff and the finances, like I've been trying to prepare by limiting, you know, my expenses, which have gone down a lot. I mean, it's like if you're not driving to gigs all the time, like your car's just sitting back there, like you're not buying gas at all, like you're saving a lot of money already. So I'm, you know, I'm lucky enough. I live in Koreatown, and there's grocery stores like walking distance all around. There's a Vons, a Ralph's, a John's, and there's like mad Korean grocery stores, and there's like a Filipino market. And I love to cook, so yeah, I love to cook. So I've actually been having time to do that. Like I was spending a lot of time cooking, and you know, if you make something like pasta, if you make pasta from scratch, it's like literally just flour and eggs, you know, and like you know, and you know, maybe like whatever sauce you want, you can make tomato sauce with a can of tomatoes. Like, so like I definitely was stocking up on some canned goods, not like crazy, but just like, you know, and like using my freezer more for like chicken and stuff. And I realized like I've actually learned a lot from this experience. Like, yo, if I want to, I can actually like survive off of a very small amount of money, and I can make food last. Like I can cook every day and like actually be okay. Like I know how to do lots of stuff with beans, especially garbanzo beans and rice, and
Yeah.
if I was really struggling financially, which thank God I'm not, you know, I'm doing okay. Like, but if I was really struggling financially, like I could do it. Like I could, you know, and it's nice to like, to discover that, to be like, you know, like if I'm disciplined, like I don't need to be spending that much money. Like I can save a lot of money. So that's kind of how I've been preparing, I guess. Trying to save and stuff, and it hasn't been too difficult. Like honestly, considering everything, things could be so much worse, you know. And I have my health, and I, you know, financially, I'm not like, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad yet. So
Sure.
I'm really grateful for that, you know.
Totally. And I think, yeah, that's the way to be. It's just grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the one, gratitude is the one word that I I know for me I try to take into every day. Um
Yeah, it's
and yeah,
huge.
yeah, I'm glad to, I'm also yeah, I hear you though too. Like getting creative in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Being a musician, might as well, you know.
yeah, it's fun. I love cooking. I
Yeah.
love eating. So cooking goes hand in hand. I used to live with a chef.
Oh,
Yeah, for 3 years. So I learned, like, my best friend Cameron, amazing chef. He actually used to be a trombone player. He doesn't really play anymore.
damn.
Yeah, but he's a gourmet chef, man. I learned a lot from him, like in the kitchen, like technique and stuff, recipes.
That's what's up, man. You gotta,
Yeah.
man, you gotta, man. Might want to, man, during this time, man, you might come out with that Jonah Levine cookbook, man.
We'll see. We'll see. Cooking has been fun because it's like, to me, it's an art form in and of itself. You know, it's like music, but I don't have the emotional like dependency on it. Like if I do a bad job with cooking, I'm like, whatever. It sucks, but then it's like whatever, you know. It's not like when I have a bad performance and I'm just like, you
I mean, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you.
know, I'm not like as emotionally tied to it. So,
Definitely. But yeah, man, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. But like I do with all the wrap ups, I shower the person I'm talking to with compliments. But yeah, man, I think truth be
Yeah.
told, man, you exemplify to me what it means to be a fantastic musician, complete musician, as well as just what I've heard from you, and what I've seen from you and what you post as well. I mean, just having that filter, what I see you spewing out of your Instagram and your Facebook and your, I don't really have any other social medias, but what I see out of those, I'm like, dude, this dude is the real deal. And on all levels. And I have nothing but respect for you. And, yeah, man, it's so crazy. Like, I remember, yeah, man, I feel like, from the time I met you in high school to now, man, you're like, of course this will happen. Just, I think it's a coming of age thing as well, an age appropriateness thing. But I see, though, you've just developed into like one of the baddest dudes out there, not just on what your musical stuff is, but also and your concept of what you do. But you've also just developed in terms of just who you are as a person and the kind of love and respect and understanding it seems like you have for, yeah, the people you come in contact with, man. And I feel privileged that you agreed to say yes to this podcast interview. I've learned a crap ton. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I gotta take some lessons with you soon.
That's
Glad
how.
We'll gladly pay for them full price. I refuse to take the friend discount. Um, Not that you offered it. But yeah, man, it's just great to catch up with you, man. I'm so glad.
Same, bro, dude. I feel the same way about you, man. Like I've always had mad respect for you. Like I feel like you're crazy on the horn. I look up to you as a trombone player for sure. And like, yeah, I've always known you're a cool dude. Like ever since Jamie Dunkel was like talking about you, and like way back. That's how I like first heard about you. And I haven't seen that fool in years, by the way. But yeah, man. No, I really I feel so appreciated and honored that you had me on here. Like this is mad fun. And as far as lessons, like yeah, let's exchange, man, because I have so much to learn from you, bro. So you know,
We'll do it. We'll do it. We're doing
fine. Yeah, yeah. No, I really appreciate you, bro. And it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm really glad.
it.
Yeah.
Likewise. I'm gonna stop recording though.